at this. I've got a fan that is somehow a dual fan. Look at this. No, you can't buy something like this. You have to, you're given it and then you break it because you're a total embellished seal. And then you have one of these. Oh, it looks like angel wings. Angel wings. Ooh, we made it past the first 10 seconds of 15 seconds of the video. Now we can start the real show. The real show. Oh my gosh, it's good. I guess it's good to be alive today. Today's one of those days when you wake up, the sun's in your face, and it feels quite good to be alive. I don't say that often. But today I'm saying it. I'm not sure why. Let's fly, little bird. Anyway, today, since I forgot to do that yesterday, I brought the divider. This is the divider you find in that really cool Disney suitcase that has yummy cookies. Some golden brown cookies and some chocolate chip cookies. Couldn't tell you what they are because I didn't bring the box today. But this is the divider. And what happens is the box is set up and you put this on top. So all of the chocolate chips, cookies packages are underneath this thing here. And on top you have all the beautiful golden brown cookies. And they're all so yummy. They're all so yummy. Anyway, I thought I'd start the show with something yummy and fantastic. Does it say American Waterfront Toontown Electric Railway Explorer Canoes with the Beavers? We're all fans of those. Pirates of the Caribbean and Tower of Terror were not so. Anyway, take a quick look at that cool stuff over here. But today, before I start jumping into technology, which I definitely will, because I brought this from Jack Shaloner. But before I bore you with technology, because nobody wants to listen to technology, they all fall asleep. But it makes for a pretty good lullaby. So, you could watch these videos before going to sleep, and they would put you to bed so fast. As soon as I start talking about technology and circuitry and motors and power systems. The second I start talking about all those things, are you done yet? No. Okay. All right. Still going. Anyway, I received, as one does, I received this in the mail. I've been receiving this for a year, year after year. So today, in case you are interested, no, I'm not getting paid by this company. But if you're interested in this QR code, you can check it out yourselves. I don't know, is it visible enough? Does it work? Did it autofocus? I think that Tim has gotten a whole lot better with his chefing. Since I began ranting about it. And I think you should say, well, yeah, thank you for annoying the ever-loving poop out of Tim. He did a good job, or at least his group of merry men that are in charge of the coding on the Apple's things have been working. Merry men, women, and everybody else in between has been working hard to improve the autofocus on the iPhone 13s. Hey, you're welcome. Anyway, so the performance, I'm just going to read this just for fun, because I've been receiving these over and over again, and I never really, I know that some people have been saying that this show is amazing. I've never been, so hey, if you want to invite me to come see it, I might decide to come see it. Anyway, so as I said before, I've been receiving these for like years after years, but I never really read what it's about, so I'm going to read it for you guys, just in case you didn't care. The performance Beijing doesn't want you to see, okay? So this is the beginning of it all. Through music and dance, Shenyang Shen Yun, I don't know, revives the 5 millennia of traditional Chinese culture that has been almost lost under communist rule. Since Shen Yun's inception, Beijing has tried to stop people from seeing Shen Yun, threatening theaters, intimidating sponsors, and spreading misinformation. Come find out why the Chinese communist regime fears a cultural revival. It's time to see what Beijing doesn't want you to see. So it is a mesmerizing performance, reclaiming the divinely inspired cultural heritage of China. Donna Karan, founder of DKNY. It's a fascinating insight into what China's culture used to be and what I hope one day will be restored to China. Edward Macmillan Scott, Vice President of European Parliament. Oh, gosh. Why do they have to put Europeans? Why do they have to mix in Europeans in all this? I don't know. It feels like Europeans always get mixed up in everything. All right, so let's keep going on this. A portal to timeless beauty and wisdom. The gong resounds, the curtain opens, and a heavenly scene is right before your eyes. Shen Yun presents a majestic vision filled with goodness and hope. Experience a moment of so uplifting, you'll wish you could stop time. Stunning beauty and positive energy are only 2 of Shen Yun's hallmarks. I can't do this, guys. Powerful, purifying, heartwarming, a source of hope. These are words viewers use to describe their experience. What is the secret? Shen Yun's works are steeped in timeless traditional virtues and aesthetics. They celebrate ideals that for thousands of years were the bedrock of civilization. Experience superb artistry that transcends the trends and tastes of our day. Experience Shen Yun. Well, I'll tell you this much: the pictures are fantastic. Pictures are fantastic. So, I have reviewed about 4,000 shows, and none can compare to what I saw tonight. Richard Kanema, theater critic. Anyway. It is breathtaking. I am walking away deeply inspired and profoundly moved. Rita Cosby, Emmy Award-winning journalist. I was uplifted. I was filled with hope. The world is a better place because of Shen Yun. Richard Sweat, former U.S. congressman. Is it just me, or everybody wants you to sweat these days? They're just like all about the sweating. They have like the whatchamacallit, the Lululemon ambassadors are all about the sweating. This guy, Richard Sweat, is a former congressman. It's all about the sweating. You can't be an alpha male if you don't sweat. Experience the mystique and beauty of China before communism. Shen Yun's unique artistic vision expands the theatrical experience into a multi-dimensional, deeply moving journey through one of humanity's greatest treasures, the 5 millennia of traditional Chinese culture. This epic production immerses you in stories reaching back to the most distant past. You'll explore realms even beyond our visible world, featuring one of the world's oldest art forms, classical Chinese dance, along with innovative multimedia effects and all original orchestral works. Shen Yun opens a portal to a glorious civilization of unrivaled beauty, artistry, and inspiration. We invite you to a world where philosophers and poets alike sought harmony with the Tao or way of the universe, where maidens danced with where maidens danced with ethereal grace and generals fought with explosive athleticism. They all were about the sweating, by the way, guys. Where timeless tales of valor and virtue were born, where heaven and earth intersected, and even magic was possible. Even magic was possible. Before Disney, there was magic. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that before Disney and Hollywood, there was magic? No, it's impossible. It was an extraordinary experience. Kate Blanchett, Academy Award-winning actress. Absolutely marvelous, the imagination behind it and the creativity are incredible. Dr. Irving Gutman. Oh. Former artist, director, Vancouver Opera. Okay. The sound is beautiful, overwhelming. This melody is from heaven above. Stuart F. Lane, 6-time Tony Award winning producer. I bet you he does not have a Belinda Award, so he doesn't really matter. If you don't have a Belinda Award, then you can't really be the best. Only a few actors have received the Belinda Award. It's better than the Tony Award. It's better than the what's the other one? Then the Oscar. There's another one. There's another one that's for big, tall, sweaty men. Music that runs 5 millennia deep. Shen Yun's live orchestra is one of a kind, harmoniously blending the unique melodies of ancient Chinese instruments with the grandeur of Western orchestra. The outcome is a powerful, exquisite composition with great emotional range, perfect from bringing to life the soul of an ancient civilization. Anyway, I'm going to show you some of the pictures here. That's pretty fun. Gotta tell you, my favorite pictures are probably over here, but it's probably because I'm biased by the beauty of the female form. I don't know. What is it about that? I don't know. You can't say that anymore. It's probably sexist to say that you're enticed or I don't know, invigorated by the beauty of the female form. Anyway, let's get into technology. This is where everybody leaves. We had about 1 million people right now watching the show, and I said technology. Everybody left. Everybody left. How are you supposed to run a show when everybody leaves when you say technology? I have not been following the Twitter files, but apparently the Twitter X files have been doing lots of things. I don't know anything about it. Do you know anything about it? Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. All right, let's talk about technology today. So in the previous episode of Where's the Douche? We talked about circuitry, power systems, and pressing buttons, which you know I am the master of. I am the one, the only master of pressing buttons. They don't always do what I want them to do, but I know how to press them. So we did circuit organ yesterday. Don't be alarmed. The circuit organ is not about dissecting things. It's this thing right here. It creates beautiful sounds, the sounds of music. The sounds of music. Before that, we created the robot snake, the remote control snake. And before that, in the other episode of Where's the Douche, we did the breadboard car, which was pretty good. And then before that, we made it easy on you. No, we're not Toyota. Don't worry. We made the buzzer game. The AM radio. What else did we do? The infinity mirror. Boy, did we do a lot of things in this book. The door alarm. So you can figure out who's been stealing your cookies from the cookie jar. And then we made the electromagnetic crane, where I humiliated myself. But there are so many more projects in this book. So many more. Because Jack Shaloner has made this book and about another 30 with awesome stuff about technology that nobody wants to see. They all want to find out what's the latest on Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, the cheapskate. Anyway, there's the bug bot. Because we have determined in the previous video, when I was flying and breaking planes in Real Flight Evolution, that you can still be a rich man and be a total cheapskate to your woman. You don't have to be poor to be a cheapskate. Matchbox microphone. Really cool. What else? There was a handheld fan. There was the generator. You could make a power generator with a bunch of things here. The generator. It looked like this. Look how cool that is. 'Twas the generator. Almost as cool as the Terminator, but it doesn't terminate things. So the motor, we created a motor. We created a coin battery. That was cool with fairy stuff and rainbows, and we like those too. We had troubleshooting for the breadboards and electric circuits. Man, using the multimeter, the Bradall, my favorite tool that I never knew about until I picked up this book, the Bradall. Components. What else did we have? The toolbox and staying safe and forward, not the other stuff. Anyway, today we are going to make the bottle boat. Look at this, the bottle boat. By the way, when I created the first Coca-Cola boat, RC boat, first Coca-Cola powered RC boat, and floated it and sailed it on the lake and Irvine, California, Woodbridge Pools, I had not read this. I did not have one of these. I just winged it like I always do. Anyway, today we're going to do it the real way, the right way, the Shaloner way, the Jack Shaloner. Because this is a Jack that's not going to hit the road. He's going to bring you lots of intelligent and fun STEM or STEAM. I don't know why some people call it STEAM. I thought it was STEM education, but anyway, some people call it STEAM. Get yourself some Skillshare. Anyway, watch yourself some Electro Boom. Anyway, bottle boat. So bottle boat makes some waves with the ship-shape propeller-powered boat. This boat uses batteries to drive 2 electric motors, which each spin a propeller. A propeller is a type of fan that turns rotational spinning motion into thrust, which allows your boat to go forward or backwards. Float your boat in the water, turn it on, and watch it go. And do it your way, whatever floats your boat. Anyway. So flipping the switch allows electric current to flow through the boat's twin motors, and they've got to be twins. 2 AA batteries provide the power for the boat. The boat's hull body made from a plastic bottle. The boat's motors turn 2 screw propellers which drive the boat through the water. In this book, it tells you to make a twin motor boat, but if you're cheap or you just don't have access to 2 motors, I'm pretty sure that this project will work just fine with a single motor, because not everybody gets to be double. Anyway, how to make a bottle boat. So we're gonna go through all this step by step, but don't worry, it's only medium. The difficulty level is only medium this time. So it's gonna take about 60 minutes, which by now you should know. If you are in a classroom, it's probably gonna take you twice the amount, which means 2 hours if my math is correct, but it could be wrong. So you can correct me in the comments at any time. I won't mind, I promise. So it says, beware, requires utility knife, Bradall. It requires a Bradall. So many of these projects require a Bradall. It also requires a glue gun and soldering iron. I will show you that I was not lying. I'm not a politician, so it's fine. It's fine. I will not lie to you. I might get it wrong, but the intention was good. Which is why, guys, as I always tell you every time I make any of the videos, it should be one of those little signs that appears in YouTube videos. Take his words with a grain of salt, and please, I beg of you, don't try this at home, kids. So with that said, let's get into what you will need here to create the bottle boat. What you need from the toolbox is a utility knife, a bradal, a cutting mat, hot glue gun, a ruler. Go get yourself a ruler from the amazing, the one and only Crazy Russian Dad. Wire cutters, wire strippers, soldering iron and solder, third-hand tool, double-sided foam tape. And with all that, now we're going to step into the other things that you're going to need for this project, which is we're going to need 2 6-volt motors. But trust me, one will be enough. So you don't really need 2. But if you don't have the budget for 2, as I said before, you can use 1. There's a 3-volt battery pack and 2 AA batteries, which are my favorite batteries because you can find them pretty much anywhere. You could be at a duty-free in Japan, and they will have them for you. You could be in Timbuktu, and I think even there. You could, I'm not sure if you were up in the Himalayas, in the Himalayan mountains, in a duty-free shop, if they would have those, but probably. They're the most well-known and most widely used batteries in the world, I would say, AA batteries. AAA, sometimes not as much because they're like, I'm not sure. There's something about the AA that works. Anyway, metal propeller shafts. Metal propeller shafts, you're going to need 2 of those. As I said before, 2 AA batteries. You're going to need 1 SPST switch. You're going to need 1 battery snap connector. Why do you need a battery snap connector? This project might also require a no, it doesn't. For some reason they have some weird thing here going on. So usually if you find a project is asking you for a battery snap connector, it usually involves having to deal with a 9-volt battery, which are those sort of like rectangular cubish things. But for some reason now you need one of these, which is for the different reason. I think that they convert the AA batteries for some reason. The connector for that, the battery pack somehow has a battery snap connector instead of its usual cables that just stick out. So that's a little bit weird, but I guess we'll live. So small model boat screw propellers that obviously must fit onto the 6-volt motors. So you have to buy ones that work with that. You're going to need 1 plastic bottle with straight sides. Okay. It's one of those water bottles that has the funky looking top. It's not your traditional water bottle or anything like that. It's I'll show you in the picture in a minute, but it's not your typical one. And ball, like the ones that you get from Kirkland or something, or Costco, it's not like one of those. You need 2 ball pens. You need 2 ball pens. Who knew? Red stranded wire. You're getting 8 inches, which is 20 centimeters. You're gonna need hard plastic tube and polystyrene board and black stranded wire, 8 inches, which is 20 centimeters. I'm gonna show you all this stuff that I just talked about, just in case I got carried away and lost something or forgot something. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It is so beautiful. And this is the bottle top that I was talking about. These are not the most common ones that you'll find in stores, but they make it slightly easier to close off the top. It's almost like they have a double system. One that screws on and one that you pull up so that you can drink. Some people love those. Some people don't like those. Put it in the comments if you like those or dislike them. All right, so use the utility knives to cut a large rectangle out of the middle of one side of the bottle. Be careful not to cut too far down on the sides. Whenever dealing with plastic bottles and things that cut, please be careful, kids, because, and adults too, you would not believe how sharp plastic can become. We already spoke about this the other time. When you apply too much pressure to a blade, one of these utility knives, and the blade is too long, the blade can snap and become a weapon of not mass destruction, but singular destruction, possibly double. If the blade like ricochets off one person and then hits another person, you never know what's going to happen. Anything could happen. Anyway, so near the base of the bottle, cut out a rectangle. So near the base of the bottle, cut out a rectangle that is slightly smaller than the SPST switch and is in line with the middle of the larger hole. So then you're gonna have to grab your favorite tool, the Bradall. So use the Bradall to make 2 holes about halfway up the bottle on either side of the center. Make the holes slightly larger than the diameter of the hard plastic tube. I'm gonna show you what that's all about right here. Okay, all right. Show you this picture here, and then I have to move my head over here. There's glare off of the sun. So I hope you guys can see what is pretty hard for me to show you at the current time. Step 4, use the utility knife to cut 2 equal lengths of the hard plastic tube, about 3/8 inches, which is 1 centimeter. So save yourself the trouble of going through fractions, just use the centimeters. Shorter than the metal propeller shafts. Okay, so they have to be shorter than the metal propeller shafts, and you're using the utility knife. Again, be careful on that thing. You're going to be cutting on a mat, so hopefully you won't destroy your beautiful school tables. Let's try not to do that, because the schools are underfunded as it is, and if you mess too much with all the equipment in the school, who gets paid less? Your teachers. That's usually how it works. Because let's face it, the decision makers never take a pay cut. So just remember that, kids. If you think it's funny to mess up the classrooms and break things in the classrooms, the people who are going to get paid less when you do that is your teachers. Anyway, so use the utility knife to cut 2 equal lengths of the hard plastic tube, about 3/8 inches, 1 centimeter shorter than the metal propeller shafts. I've just reread the first part, but just wanted to give you some truth there, just in case you were wondering. Be careful when gluing things to the bottle, as the hot glue may melt or misshape the plastic. Push the plastic tubes into the holes in the bottom of the bottle and hot glue them to place, right? You gotta hot glue them into place so that they can't move around anymore and they stay nice and neatly there. It makes the whole process look cleaner, but also the glue will cover up some of the sharp bits that you had because you used a Bradall or whatever to cut. And use the Bradall to poke holes into the things. The glue will make it so that it's less sharp and won't hurt you while you are messing around with the bottle, with the rest of the bits of the project. So then, make sure the tubes are both positioned downward at an angle at about 30 degrees. Why? Because you want the shafts to be able to go through these things, and eventually there will be, what do you call those things? Propellers at the end of the shafts, and the shafts will need to be able to reach the water. I don't think that they'll be very useful outside of the water unless you were planning to make this some other kind of vehicle. But anyway, let's just say that those propellers are designed to be in the water, and if they're out of the water, the vehicle is not going to move very well, if at all. So then, number 6, next you need to create a platform for the motors from the polystyrene. Cut rectangles of polystyrene that are as wide as the bottle and as long as the motors, and 2 ramps to angle the motors. It then says, cut as many rectangles as you need so that the motors can reach the holes in the bottom of the bottle. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot, guys, right there. Then it says step 7 is to glue the rectangles together. Don't put nozzle of glue gun close to the surface for too long, as it will melt the polystyrene. Yes, that's one of the things that you learn when you're creating all these projects is polystyrene tends to melt. And especially the one that is not thick polystyrene will melt faster. And so sometimes when you build these different kinds of foams and projects with this kind of stuff, you'll find that you're trying to glue something together, but the hot glue is hot, right? So instead of being able to melt things, to connect things together, it'll melt, and then suddenly the surface has melted and gone down, and now it's not connecting up to things the way it was supposed to in the beginning. So be careful with that. And also, I'm sure that the melting of polystyrene and a bunch of other things is not the best for your lungs, so you may want to wear a 3M mask in these situations. So you may need to trim the polystyrene to fit snugly inside the bottle. And then step 9 would be to now glue the 2 triangles or triangular ramps on each side of the top of the glued polystyrene rectangles. This will allow it to have an angle that you want. Okay, show you all the pictures with this. A lot of these things will require a certain level of symmetry, so please watch out for that, because a lopsided ramp or whatever that you're trying to make, if the triangles that you made are going to be different heights and stuff, it's going to make the thing not work so well. So you may want to do one, cut one out, and then use that one as reference to cut the second one so that they are roughly the same. If you have a 3D printer and stuff like that, it's even better, because you could build some of these things. You could build some of these cool kits for your kids at school with a 3D printer, and then they would be the exact size, because 3D printers for the most part are more accurate than the human would be when cutting. So then apply hot glue to the underside of the polystyrene platform and secure it in place at the base of the bottle. Cut, strip, and tin 2 red wires and 2 black wires approximately 4 inches, 10 centimeters long. Strip and tin the wires on the battery snap connector too. So you're going to have to do a lot of tinning. If you remember what tinning is to apply some solder to the ends of things, wires. Sometimes they will even ask you to use a utility knife to remove some of the coating on the wires so that it's easier to apply the solder to them. Anyway, solder 1 black wire to one of the terminals of each of the DC motors. Then take the 2 red wires and solder them to other terminal on each motor. It's quite impressive what you do with all this technology. Anyway, solder the black wires from the motors and the black wire from the... So the black and the black. Okay, black and black. Battery snap connector together to create a 3-way conjunction. Wait, 3-way junction. There's no con. There's no con in the junction. Got arrested. The con got arrested. Anyway, it was grifting too much. Anyway, place the motor's wires and battery snap connector into the hull of the boat. Feed the red wires to the smaller rectangle that you cut in step 2 for the SPST switch. Gosh. So solder the red wires from the motors to the outer SPST switch terminal, creating a 2-way junction. Then solder the red wire from the battery snap connector to the inner switch terminal. Wow. This stuff is so exciting. Have you fallen asleep yet? Come on, children. It's okay. It's only technology. It's only technology. It can't be that boring. I don't know. I was lucky. I went to school and I had some really good teachers. They were even able to make chemistry interesting. Chemistry was interesting. Thanks to a teacher who didn't make it boring. Anyway, biology lessons are just fun, no matter what, no matter who the teacher is. They're just fun. But I also had a pretty good biology teacher too. So, shout out to her. Anyway, we won't say names because we don't want to get people in trouble. But anyway, Now take the shafts out of the ballpoint pens, cut 3/8 of an inch, which is 1 centimeter, off the ends of the shafts, so to create plastic sleeves. Use a little hot glue gun to secure a sleeve onto each motor shaft. Okay, so the idea is you've created this little like straw thing. You've added a little bit of glue to the shaft of the motor. Please don't make it go all the way down to the end of the motor. Just a little bit on the tip of the shaft should be good enough. And then apply this thing through there. Yes. Okay. Now use a small strip of double-sided foam tape to stick each motor down onto one of the can't do this today. One of the polystyrene ramps. We love our polystyrene ramps for some reason. Anyway, you can use hot glue to tack the motors in place if you wish. If you wish. It's up to you. You don't have to. But if you wish, you may. And if you do, you might. Anyway, so the joint. All right, guys, I'm going to have to go back to speech lessons for a couple of weeks, and then I will return to continue on with the show because right now, I am struggling. I am struggling very much. I am struggling. So, if there are any beautiful women who would like to give me speech lessons, I'm game. I'm not sure if I can pay. But I'll take the classes. I will take the classes. Anyway, so I can't do this. I did it again. The joint. I'm sure that I'm not sure why they do this on purpose for the dyslexic people. They'll put something incorrect. Watch this. It probably meant the joint. Right there. But it says the join between the propeller and the shaft should be tight. Make it tight. Anyway, so the joint, obviously not the join, or it might have meant join the propellers and the shaft, but I don't know. Anyway, this is wrong. It probably means the joint between the propeller and the shaft should be tight. Okay? Gosh darn it. Early mornings. I don't drink coffee, but I could have. If I had wanted to, but I don't like coffee. It's bitter. So push the model boat propellers onto the 2 metal shafts, pass the shafts through the plastic tubes, and push them firmly into the open end of each of the plastic sleeves. Cut out a rectangular piece of polystyrene large enough for your battery pack to sit on. Use the battery pack as a guide. Okay. We will do that. The polystyrene base will be stuck to the boat's base. Okay. Okay, kids. All jokes aside, be careful when you do this kind of thing. Make sure you do not accidentally use your utility knife and damage the battery pack or accidentally cut. Which I've seen this done before. So you know it can't happen. Cut into a battery. Don't do that, especially if you're not using the dangerous and well-known LiPo batteries. Luckily, in this particular experiment, you're using the nickel metal hydride. But having said that, please don't poke holes into those either, because there's some kind of acid in there, which could burn your skin and do other horrible things, which is why sometimes when those batteries rust or they get corroded or whatever, then some of that stuff can leak out. So do yourself a favor and stay away with the utility knife from ruining the battery pack or the batteries. In the picture here, it shows you to use the battery pack with the batteries inserted. To do this, maybe take the batteries out. just in case your kids decide to do funny things, which would not be funny, and so don't do those things. Use hot glue to stick the battery holder to the polystyrene, then connect the battery snap connector to the battery pack. Pack. Nice. And step 22, which is the last part that I know of. It says to use the hot glue gun to stick the other side of the battery pack's polystyrene rectangle to the bottom of the It's not a pote, it's a boat. Excuse me. So, I'm going to have to reread that for you guys for a second. Your bottle boat is ready. Turn the boat on and place it into the water to watch it go. And we do love watching boats go and sail. So that'll be a fun thing to see. Okay, first things that I can notice here right away is hopefully you've done all your work properly, because there is a hole on the top of your boat. And if any water gets in the hull, this is the kind of boat that will sink to the bottom of the lake or whatever you're going to play with. So that's an interesting design. I guess it works. It's probably better for your bathtub or your pool, so it's easy to get. Maybe don't. Unlike the one that I made, which I made sure was going to be able to go out into the lake and then return safely back to me. This one might not. So yeah, as I said before, I'm going to reread this bit real quick. So it says, use a hot glue gun to stick the other side of the battery pack polystyrene rectangle to the bottom of the boat. And then your boat is now ready to run. So I'm going to show you these pictures right here. And going this way, all the way to what that battery boat looks like right here. And as you can see, the top of the boat here is open, which means that if any water builds up in here, it's a heavy battery. There's two, not one motor, but two motors. So that's more weight. And all the other stuff here. So it makes something that is rather not heavy, such as the plastic bottle itself, will not have that much buoyancy the second you put some water in there. That thing's going down. It's going down faster than the Titanic for sure. It'll almost be instantaneous. So please make sure. And also make sure, guys, this does not seem to be like a very this does not seem to be a very whatchamacallit, safe project, at least left as it is here, because you and your students will probably get cut off of the shards or whatever. There's no way you're going to be able to make cuts that are super clean here unless you're using like some kind of laser or something, or a very sharp knife or something. But anyway, or just using a one of those heated knives. If you use one of those heated knives, they get really hot, and so they melt through the plastic. Then your cuts will be less dangerous. But the way that it is set up this way, I would strongly suggest people to get their glue gun at the end of the project and go along the sides of the bits that you've cut to create a nice rubbery coating on that, so that when you try to put your batteries in and out, take your batteries, put them in to the thing, you are less likely to cut the sides of your hand when inserting and doing stuff with that. But anyway, that's just my unpopular opinion on this. You might have other ideas, but as I've seen people do the wildest things in classrooms, it's an accident waiting to happen. How it works. The type of propellers on your boat has a huge effect on how well it moves itself forward in water. The propellers on your boat are called screw propellers. The curve of the propeller blades is similar to a screw's thread. Okay. So now we're going to dissect some of the stuff here I just talked about. When you press the boat switch, the circuit is complete. Electricity flows through the motors, and the motors torque turning force is transferred to the propellers. How exciting. The screw propeller pushes itself through the water in the same way that a screw pushes itself into wood when you turn it with a screwdriver. However, unlike a piece of wood, water is a liquid, so the propeller pushes some water backward as the boat moves forward. Very cool. The straight sides of the bottle stop it from rolling in the water. The current splits here, which means the motors are wired in parallel. As a result, they both get the same amount of current, which is important for the boat to maintain a forward direction. The plastic tubes protect the propeller shafts, which transfer the motor's torque to the propellers. The tighter the angle of the propeller blade, the harder the motor needs to work to turn it, like a turnip. Okay. So with that all said, I'm going to show you guys the picture here. Check that out. I can't see if you... Am I showing you the right picture? I can't really tell. I think I kind of aimed it right. I think I did. Hopefully that worked. Jedi mind tricks. Jedi mind tricks. All right, let's get on with this. So, real-world inventions, Emma Maersk propeller. The largest propeller ever made was for the Emma Maersk, a Danish-owned container ship in 2006. Its propeller measures nearly 32 feet, which is 10 meters. Wow. For real? Wow. They have like 10-meter jumping boards and stuff for divers. That is wow. That is one seriously big propeller. OMG. So it says 10 meters in diameter to the height of 3 adult elephants. It's made of bronze and has a mass of more than 125 tons. Here we go. We've got an elephant right here. But anyway, I wonder how many of these fit in one of those. Hundreds, maybe thousands of these fit in one of those propellers. Wow, guys. Wow, guys. Anyway, just in case you thought I made that stuff up, I'm going to show you. It says right here in the picture. Is that cool or what? Is that cool or what? No, there's no point in showing you guys all fell asleep. You guys all fell asleep back there. What does it take to teach people technology these days? I don't know. It's a hard job. It's a hard job that nobody really wants to do because there's not enough money in it. That's why. We all want to be Andrew Tates, don't we? No. No. Okay, so secret. I'm going to talk today about the secret origin of Wing Chun. Did I say that right? I think I did. Secret origin of Wing Chun. Take a look at this cool logo right here. Take a look at this awesome logo right here. This was on the video game that we were trying to build. We weren't trying to build it back better or anything like that. We just wanted to build it. Now, if somebody wanted to take the project on, we could give you the source code and you could build it back better. Anyway, it's been on the YouTube for I wouldn't say decades, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I posted that video that when we were trying to create an awesome video game about the secret origin of Wing Chun. But anyway, if somebody else wants to pick up the slack, want to build it for us, we can give you the source code, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so 2,200 years of training, history, philosophy, and development of ancient Chinese mixed martial arts. It's none of that fake stuff. It's the real thing. It's the real thing. And it says for Yin Kai-san students only. Right there. But now, thanks to the amazing effort of all the amazing people that work together to build this amazing book, but also we must talk about the author of the book, which is Grandmaster Tom Wong. Even you have the chance to get yourself one of these off of Amazon. if you want to read along with me. I'm tired. I'm gonna go take a break. Little breather. Snore. Never mind. Let's read. Where did we get to? Did we get to part 5 America, or were we still talking about something else? I think we were talking about the 5 organs correlate to 5 emotions: liver and anger, heart and joy, spleen. If you don't know what the spleen is, it's not an SP that leans. It is your spine. It is related to the pensiveness, which I guess means your thinking. Lungs and grief. Kidney and fear. So if you're in a boxing match and somebody smacks your kidney, you're gonna start feeling the fear, and so you'll end in a pile of baloney. No, you won't. Anyway, so kidney and fear, that's interesting. The liver and the anger, the heart and joy, the spleen, the pensiveness, and the grief is the lungs. Okay. So with all that said, let's get forward. Let's read forward from part 5. Part 5 is the 1-inch punch, modern show or classic mess. Pretty fun. There we go. So in 1983, when this pathetic, conniving son of a gun was born, born to be wild, and obviously born to be pesky, as in the picture right there. So in 1983, I had the pleasure and honor of meeting, not me, Grandmaster Tom Wong, of course, had the honor of meeting some of Bruce Lee's famous students during a wonderful surprise party. James W. DeMille, Jerry Petit, gracious Lady Fran Joseph, Steve Golden, and some of his students. My apologies for not remembering your names. It was... I'm going to show you this because, again, you guys, if you guys want, right here, there's some awesome text right here that I can't read. But if you know how to read it, you can make a nice video and help the YouTube algorithm create something useful for the world. For the world. And then post it back on the comments section. In the comments section, I will allow it to stay, and actually I will worship it, and I will say good things about your YouTube channel if you help out. So fascinating to hear. So I'll go back, lost myself there. So it was fascinating to hear them discuss various martial arts and debate about the pros and cons of each martial art. The topic of their conversation was very broad and went from American boxing to wrestling, French savate, Japanese karate, silat, Muay Thai, different types of Shaolin Kung Fu, Jeet Kune Do, and Wing Chun. They also discussed hand-to-hand combat, weapons combat, Taoist philosophy, and Greek philosophy. Their conversation then went to why Bruce Lee created Jeet Kune Do. To summarize, Bruce Lee thought that the Wing Chun he learned, as well as many other styles, had a lot of shortcomings. He called it a classical mess. As the conversation went on to the best way to transition from boxing into grappling, or to transition from a hard style into a soft style, Steve Golden and Jerry Petit individually demonstrated a variety of techniques, including Tiger Claw, Eagle Claw, and the regular hold. Suddenly, Jerry Petit pointed at me and said, in a challenging tone, Bruce Lee always quoted a Taoism saying, "To see is to be deceived. To hear is to be lied to. Feeling is believing." Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Oh, gosh. Oh, I broke a few windows there. Let's go. Obviously, my voice is not warm today, even though I feel very warm thanks to the power of the sun. And as I made that horrible comment and started singing, the last 2 million people that were watching left. They all jumped over to Andrew Tate's channel. They all wanted to find out how to be a real manly man. Anyway, so as Jerry stood in the middle of the living room and looked down at me, everyone in the room turned towards me. The guests saw that I had not made many remarks and had been pretty quiet. I had just tried to enjoy Fran's tea and hospitality, and he put me in quite the spot with those words. Okay, let's see what he talked about. He said, "Don't be stingy with your Wing Chun's knowledge and share your opinion with us," Jerry continued. As a result, I explained, Sticky Hands is a unique way to help that transition from our Wing Chun's training. My great Grandmaster Fong was a bounty hunter once. However, Jerry interrupted, because he wanted to see some action. So he did that because he wanted to see some action. So he became a bounty hunter so that he could practice his martial arts, I guess. It appeared that they had planned this ahead of time. So he... What? I'm lost here. Gotta go back. So it appeared that they had planned this ahead of time and had been curious to see my Yuan Kai-san Sumnang Wing Chun that had been cultivated in China. They wanted to see whether it would be a classical mess, like Bruce Lee said. At the time, I wondered, do they all want to jump on me at the same time? They might. You never know. You never know what you're going to find. When you go into a gym, you never know what's going to happen. Whether they all want to jump on you or not. I don't know. I'd only go into a BBJ gym if it's filled with beautiful ladies. Otherwise, I'm like, nah, I'll pass. I'll pass on that one. Personally, I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of being jumped on by a lot of... Okay, they could be beautiful. But I'm just not a fan of a lot of large, sweaty men. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Maybe you like that. It's not ideal for me. Anyway, as I tried to figure out an excuse I could use to leave the room, Jerry pressured me. Jerry pressured him. Well, Tommy, Bruce always used the Taoist phrase, to see is to be deceived, to hear is to be lied to, feeling is believing. I'm not going to sing that next bit, okay? I'm going to save your ears and your windows and help that Microsoft stay in business. So anyway, show us what you can do with your Wing Chun, he said. Since I could not figure out a way to get out of the situation, I replied, okay, I will go through anything you like. While they did not jump me all at the same time, I did cross hands with everyone. So basically, after they all asked him, come on, we want to see what the Yen Kai-san Wing Chun, the Sumnang Wing Chun, and obviously the Grandmaster Tom Wong Wing Chun is all about. They didn't all attack him at once, but he sparred with all of them, obviously. So after the smoke had cleared, everyone sank into deep thought. Finally, Jerry broke the silence. He opened his wide eye, took a deep breath, and said, it felt like an electric shock. That powerful whiplash is the most powerful and fast muscle fiber I have ever experienced since Bruce Lee. All right, so then it goes into striking, page 266, striking to grappling. I'm not sure what those things refer to a couple of times, or like my favorite robot says, refer to. That Aini doll is amazing. She says refer to, and it cracks me up every time. It's great. Anyway, lots of laughs. So It must be the Chinese genetic muscle twists he shares with Bruce Lee, said Steve Golden. Steve's student added, he seemed relaxed, but it felt like there was some very strong energy behind him. It was hard to get around. It took very simple yet so unique. So basically, they're talking about his technique, that it's simple and letting it look so unique. They felt like they were hit by a shockwave and stuff like that. Anyway, or a sonic boom. I did not know what to say for a minute. However, I was relieved that we still ended up on a friendly basis and that they did not seem upset. I explained that my demonstration of short energy was not limited to a punch. Instead, it could be executed in all directions during combat. Such versatility was a unique signature of my teacher Sifu Sumnung's Wing Chun. I guess what he's trying to say there, I imagine, is that you could do a 1-inch punch in this direction, but you could also use the Wing Chun power in this direction, up, down. And that is kind of the difference between your typical Jeet Kune Do 1-inch punch and Samnung Yankai Sang Wing Chun, which means that the similar type of energy that you can push in a straight line, you can also push in different directions. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, so since everything I demonstrated was very ordinary, I did not have to explain much besides the use of energy. I was glad because my English was very poor at the time. As we continued our previous conversation, we ended with a very friendly atmosphere, and it turned out to be a wonderful experience. According to one of Bruce Lee's top students, James W. DeMille, I don't know. I apologize, James, for butchering your name. Again, I'm going to have to figure out how to say that. Bruce Lee loved to try out new ideas and different sparring equipment with his students. James DeMille claimed that he developed his own 2-3-inch punch with Bruce Lee. He told me that Bruce Lee only used the 1-inch punch for demonstrations. James was one of the sharpest and most quick-witted men I have ever met. He said with strong encouragement, "You are very fast and powerful with a very explosive energy. My student is a chief editor for Black Belt magazine. He can help you be recognized by the public. Please feel free to let me know if there is any way I can help you. You can use my name as a witness. The public deserve to know your Wing Chun." So the public deserves to know Yankai-san Wing Chun, or Samnang Wing Chun, or, Grandmaster Zhang Wang's Wing Chun. Likewise, Jerry Poteet introduced the chief editor of the magazine Inside Kung Fu, Dave Carter, to me. Okay, so he introduced him to this guy. I was very touched by their sincerity and friendship and their unselfishness in reaching out to help me. Jerry and James Strong asserted that Americans deserve to know firsthand information from someone who, with direct knowledge of Yankai-san Wing Chun, and who had learned about the system and history from Samnung himself, rather than from people that were second or third or fourth generation students, people who had economic motives, to smear and make misleading statements about Yankai-san Wing Chun. People from another branch of Wing Chun, or people that were kicked out of the branch early on. So this is why this is a good opportunity for some companies such as Valuetainment to secure themselves one of the last grandmasters out there of this lineage of Kung Fu, to show up and be on the show and teach somebody something a little different. Because you see a lot of these people going off into MMA, and their Wing Chun is obviously not Wing Chun. But anyway, so it was also my teacher Sifu Samnung's wish and ordered during the 1980s for me through video to introduce the 5 branches of Wing Chun from the time of the Red Boat Opera to the United States. As time passed, many Wing Chun masters from different branches. Anyway, I doubt that any of those famous YouTube channels is going to have the stones. To make a nice offer to Grandmaster Tom Wong to show up and do something cool on their show. You're not going to see any of those top guys do something like that for a good master of the arts. Anyway, so that were previously unknown to Americans have since received recognition. One would hope. However, today, many students of the Yenkai-san branch, as well as friends from different disciplines, have displayed their interest regarding my Wing Chun journey and training. Every day, they message me with a multitude of questions and look to me for answers. As a result, instead of repeating the same answers one at a time to different people, I hope this book provides many students and friends some additional information on our perspective of the philosophy behind our training. So, and also, as I said before, you guys can go to Monterey Park and learn directly from Grandmaster Tom Wong before he retires, because he could. You never know when. So, don't miss your opportunity to do that. In 1999, I don't know if I can read that. Dan Frosch, a reporter with the LA Times, and his partner, who was a martial arts expert, came to my house and visited me for an interview. The photographer, apologies for forgetting his name, was a black belt in karate. I greeted the two gentlemen with some chips and drinks. I planned to explain the conceptual similarities and differences between Western boxing and Eastern Wing Chun Kung Fu. Both of them were more anxious to see a demonstration of my 1-inch punch and my shadowless kicks instead. And his kicks are amazing. If you didn't know that, he has some examples of those on his YouTube channel, but nobody's seen them because they're so fast. That's one of the reasons why they've never been seen, but another reason is the algorithm hasn't been showing them to you. Anyway, as we briefly introduced ourselves, we squared off, and I told the photographer to get ready. I told the photographer that as soon as he saw the kick that I was going to direct at his stomach, he would block it. I asked, "Are you ready?" Good luck with that. He replied in the affirmative. I released my first kick and retracted it a hair away from his stomach, but he had not moved to respond to my kick. I smiled and warned him again. "You are not ready. Try again." We repeated it 3 times, but he did not move at all to respond to my kick all 3 times. His jaw dropped, of course. In the end, he shook his head and smiled. Then they wanted to see if my 1-inch punch was real or just a phony setup like many others. Therefore, I handed him a focus pad and he placed it in front of his chest. I snapped my punch from my fingertip, touched the focus pad, and sent him 15 feet airborne before he finally slammed it into the fence behind him. He was shocked, as one would. The photographer wanted to capture it in film, so he asked me, my student, Howard Tan, to repeat what he had done and hold the focus glove in front of his chest. We moved further away from the fence. Bamp! My student flew into the fence as well. As one would expect from the Grandmaster Tom Wong. It's not some cheap trick from the other Tom Wong with the bald hair, English accent, and the swearing. I don't think he can do anything like that. But anyway, I'm going to show you some cool things over here. There are some pictures. Some pictures right here and right here. Anytime one of those big shots, diamond YouTubers, they've got the diamond plaque, whatever, want to give Grandmaster Tom Wong a call and ask him to show up on your show, he probably is going to refuse because you guys suck anyway. But in case, you don't suck and he decides to come up for the show, you actually have a grandmaster of a lineage that is pretty much unknown show you a real demonstration of Kung Fu. Anyway, author performed one-inch punch on Howard Tan in a newspaper article. Second page of the newspaper article was right here. So these are the newspaper articles. I'm sure nobody knows about these. They're not going to show you. They're not going to show you. They don't want to show you that their cheap Kung Fu is not the real thing. Anyway, I talked about cheap Kung Fu, and we had what was it, 2 million watchers earlier watching the show, and they all gone. It shows 0. I'm gonna do a screen grab, bro. Screen grab, 0 people watching me. So I talked about the truth. Anyway, several years later, it was my pleasure to meet World Boxing Hall of Famer Robert Morales and his photographer from the newspaper, Pasadena Star. I explained and demonstrated the short explosive energy that could be applied to one-inch punches, kicks, grappling, and anti-grappling. These two great martial artists appreciated a short and powerful punch when they saw and experienced one. Furthermore, we talked about some of my knife fighting experience in my early teens and some of the ground fighting skills that involved the same explosive spurts of energy used in one-inch punch. I had previously never demonstrated these ground fighting skills to the public. Aside from using the one-inch short energy for striking in combat, such energy can be used for bone setting, massage, and acupressure. If the energy is used correctly, it can help relieve the patient's pain and enable the patient to heal better and faster. For example, my teacher Sifu, Dr. Sumnung, often applied his short and controlled energy to realign his patient's broken bones and put dislocated joints back into place. When I was younger, I had the opportunity to witness his bone-setting skills on a daily basis. On one occasion, a woman came to his office with a dislocated jaw. His new student was a young girl who was very apprehensive about handling it, but my teacher Sifu calmed her down and encouraged her to try it. She tried it for a couple of minutes and started to sweat. The woman was also sweating and tearing up. I got nervous and reminded my teacher Sifu to help. My teacher Sifu then turned around and walked in front of the patient. He held her jaw gently and tapped with a very short, precise, controlled energy with very fine sensitivity. The woman was not aware she was back to normal again until Dr. Sumnung asked her to try speaking. Then she started to curse the young students nonstop. Okay, so we're going to leave the conclusion of this book, of this part anyway, to tomorrow. And so hopefully I will remember that is what we're going to be working on tomorrow. I'm going to put the placeholder here, the placeholder right here, so that we continue on with this amazing book, guys. So again, you guys can buy this off of Amazon if you wish. But with that, guys, it's been about 73 minutes of me talking nonstop. So you guys are probably tired, and most likely you're all asleep. So by now, all I'm going to say is have an amazing rest of your day. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. Take care.